Look at how much my legs are floating. They're like over floating.
Hi, my name is Michelle Zaremba. I'm a student at Appalachian State University. I speak English, but when I was growing up, I was taught how to read and write in Hebrew. Being a Jew, it was used often in services and just in general with the community, but I didn't know what I was saying or what I was writing. I never really learned the meaning of the Hebrew. Not until I took a gap year in Israel after high school. There I taught English to elementary school students and took intense Hebrew classes. People are always asking me,
do you speak Jewish?
no. Here we have a prime example of a common Hebrew word or phrase, shalom. Shalom is a common term used often in art, protest, conversation. Shalom can mean three things. It can mean hi, peace, or bye. So it can be used a lot. And
Wait.
an interesting thing about shalom is that it sounds a lot like the Arabic word salam, which has the same meaning. One of the really cool things about Hebrew is that it has these vowels that can change the significance of words greatly, or letters. One of my favorite letters is the shin. There's a similar letter called the sin. So the shin has the dot on the right, and the sin has the dot on the left. So sh, s, it can make very different sounds, which can completely change a word, but this little dot can make a big difference. A good way to remember that is that a sin is never right. I grew up going to public school, and those schools often taught different languages, like Spanish or Chinese, but they never taught Hebrew, which makes sense, but it always bummed me out.
Spanish, and Latin. My high school offered Spanish and Latin.
My high school offered Spanish, French, Latin, Chinese, and German.
Jesus.
My high school offered Spanish and Chinese.
My high school offered Spanish, French, Latin, and German.
This is a Siddur Sim Shalom. It is a prayer book. It's very commonly used in conservative synagogues throughout America. This is a prayer book that I found in a hummus shop in Tel Aviv. It's actually a hummus shop that used to be an old temple, so it had some leftover books inside. This is my notebook that I used for my Hebrew class while I was living in Israel. Hebrew classes in Israel are actually called Ulpan, and I took an intensive Ulpan class. It was 4 hours every morning for 4 months. It was pretty rough, but it was worth it. You may notice that my Hebrew in this notebook looks different than from the other books. Aside from me having bad handwriting, that is because I wrote in cursive Hebrew, which is just a different way to write it. It doesn't connect the letters or anything, it just makes it look a little less boxy. Fun fact! The Hebrew alphabet is called the Aleph-Bet. Not because it sounds like alphabet, but because the first 2 letters in the Hebrew alphabet are Aleph and Bet.
Hi, I'm Hannah. I grew up in the same synagogue as Michelle. We both taught art to all the students, but I also taught tefillah, which was more into the prayers and Hebrew part of it. So it was interesting having to learn how to teach people of all ages the language, specifically because languages are some of the hardest things to learn if you didn't grow up with it. A lot of the kids didn't. Me and Michelle also grew up going to the same summer camp. That summer camp was a sleepaway camp, and it was extremely hands-on with learning the language. They brought in counselors from Israel in order to completely submerge us into the language, which is one of the fastest ways to learn a new language. And one of the best things they did that helped me the most was put little stickers and signs of what everything was, but in Hebrew. So they had a sticker on the door that said Dalet, which means door in Hebrew. And little tips and tricks like that, plus repetition.
All right, I'm going to leave you all with a fun little phrase to say. Yofi in Hebrew means excitement, yay, awesome, beautiful, great.
So Yofi is a fun word to say, but an even funner thing to say is Yofi Tofi, which is just the dorky Israeli way of saying awesome. So Yofi Tofi, guys, and shalom.